Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by the Hard Truth Distilling Company in Brown County, Indiana.
So
Hello.
are the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world. Time! Three on the way. Oh! It went in! It went in! And Indiana wins the ball game! Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni! Float game for the win! Ayler's gone. Goodbye, touchdown, Indy! Woo! IU! America! They got a football team now!
Pretty simple. I win. Google me.
You know that I'm the cream of the crop.
Now, from the Hard Truth Studios, here's Jim Coyle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome aboard to another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio, coming to you from the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everything is happening on the right path. Get ready to be joined here in just 1 second by Coach Shannon Griffith. There you are, brother. How's it going?
Good morning. Thought maybe I was a little early.
Oh, no, never too early. Never too early. How are things up in Fort Wayne?
You know, it's cloudy and cold up here. It does not look to be like a very nice Memorial Day weekend up in the north. So that's kind of a bummer.
Not looking much better south of there. It's about the same.
We haven't had to dodge any tornadoes yet, though, like you guys have down there.
Oh, boy. And I'm telling you, man, that sucker hit. You can tell. You can tell where, too, man. What's going on in the world of Indiana football?
Well, you know, it's this is the time of year that we're running into the camp season's getting ready to start. The coaches are coming back off the road from their spring evaluation period and gearing up for a good 3-week on-campus Coach Signetti camps with different position groups on a daily basis there. And there'll still be recruiting going on during that period. It's vitally important to them because they'll put their eyes on some maybe 26 kids that maybe have not quite passed the optics of getting an offer, but may come to camp and earn one. Then you've got the kids that are in the next classes, 27s, 28s, that will be encouraged to come in to get evaluated. And it's a very important tool for them in the recruiting world. And I'm assuming their player development manager or people will be doing a lot during this period of June with the kids coming in. So that's the biggest thing that's going on with that. And as it pertains to some things, they will probably gear up a little bit for what they're going to expect for the season, but they usually get a break there in July. The coaches do for about a 2-week period, maybe 3. I don't know what SIG's philosophy is in terms of weeks, but before you know it, they're gearing up for camp, and it's going to hit sooner than it is later because of where we're at during this point in time.
Yeah, and before I forget, I'm remiss to say, I did forget for a second, but Jim Irsay passed away yesterday at the age of 67, and that's just a huge blow, not only for the Colts, Indianapolis, the state of Indiana, the NFL, just so many different things. His philanthropy, he had his issues prior, but he cared about the Colts. He loved Indianapolis. He put on all those things. So it's someone that it just leaves a huge hole in a place like in Indianapolis for all the things that they've done, and just really cared about the community.
Yeah. I mean, he did a lot, kind of like his life. It was full speed ahead 24/7. And, you know, he rode life hard and he lived it to the fullest. And, I know in the last few years, his daughters have gotten very actively involved in the organization. So I'm assuming they will pick up the majority of the responsibilities and stuff with everything with the Colts, but it's still a huge loss just because of, you know, father, then the son stepped in, and now we're looking at another generation of Irsay stepping to the forefront. So it's a sad day at the same time for the Indianapolis area and the Colts organization as a whole.
Yep, certainly did. And also, you're going to talk about the Colts. Now we have to talk about well, you don't have to talk about, we'll do that later, the Pacers. But
what a game.
I will be changing uniforms here in a little while. I'm gonna pay a tribute, but what a game is right. But yeah, Indiana football, let's stick on that subject for a while. Right now, man, they've done a good job of hitting the recruiting trail, and they're really looking forward to is filling any gaps and filling 26, 27 guys, and they're gaining momentum through all of that as well. So, and this is another season that will just aid with that. So,
yeah, in the recruiting aspect of it, they have 9 total right now. I did the video breakdown of Gabe Hill, 4-star defensive lineman commit. That's up on the Hoosier.com. And man, that kid is so impressive. And you can see, you know, why they were so involved with him, because it's like anything else. Some guys you put on the tape and he's a no doubter. Okay. And Gabe Hill is one of those guys you put on the tape. He's a no doubter. And he's a good looking specimen kid. And they've done very well with some of the defensive side needs in their foundation, as far as getting some kids in here that are really going to be good ball players. And I think they've got to feel very happy where they're at right at this moment, heading into this summer period. I think in a publication, maybe on threes, that they had them up to the 31st best class in the country. I don't ever remember Indiana in summer being rated that high in terms of recruiting. And again, you take it with a grain of salt. It's beauty's in the eye of the beholder. But at the same time, there are people recognizing the fact that they have broken some barriers. A season like last year vastly improved their brand. And when they walk through a school, there's brand awareness. And that's the key component. When you knock on a door at a high school, that the kids know who Indiana is. And that's paying huge dividends as it pertains to the recruiting game. And you're right. This season will go a long way with continuing that momentum if things go the way we anticipate them going.
Yeah, and that's how you get that engine. You get the engine started, and you have to keep the engine running, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're keeping that engine running by doing all of this. And I think this is going to be a fun season to watch, as I've said many times. Fernando Mendoza leading the way, and he was one of the top transfer portal targets.
Top 5
was in there. So there, we know what he can do. He's thrown for 3,000 yards. He's thrown for over 5,000 yards total. So I think it's going to be a more exciting offense, man.
Well, tune in tonight, because we're going to find out whether or not I feel that Mendoza is that dude. Is he QB1? Is he QB1 ready? Whether it's right, wrong, indifferent, how good do the people outside the organization think he is? We'll put on the tape tonight and watch a little bit of Mr. Mendoza's last year and give an honest opinion about what he is capable of and what are some things that maybe they're working on with him to improve from last year, because new offense, new coordinator, new wide receivers, getting Brady come with him from Cal was huge. But we're going to find out. I'll put it on tonight, 7:30, and we'll get the answers we're looking for. But between me and you know what I feel about him.
That's a great tease. Give a little bit of a tease with the little info nugget.
Well, I think the biggest thing that has gripped me about Fernando's watching his tape is his competitiveness and how it comes out in the way he plays. I think he is a kid that you can tell it's important. You can tell that he's into it. He's opposite of Curtis in that regard, because Curtis was a little bit more calm, cool, reflected, nothing much fazed him. Mendoza's a little bit more outwardly in his way he approaches the game. You can tell it means a lot to him, and you can tell his teammates feed off of him.
Well, that is always a good thing as a leader, as a quarterback, as the guys that are always going to be looking back at you in the huddle. So they expect that leadership, they expect that confidence.
And those are the things that are hard to measure. We can always measure, arm strength. You can measure how big he is and all those things. But there is a feel, of course, when I coached, of their outward body language in terms of what are they projecting that can say a lot about them as that guy. And we're going to find out if that is where he's at in terms of my eyes. Is that body language the right language for Indiana? And how will that impact them offensively this year? And consider this, they only moved the pocket with Curtis Rourke 25% of the times. They had very few QB runs. Does that void get filled with Mendoza that allows them to do more, like you were reflecting on, that becomes a more proficient down the field attack mentality with him at QB1?
Looking forward to that. And you can too go to thehoosier.com on 3, and you can find that at Hoosier Tailgate tonight with Coach. You by yourself tonight?
Yeah, I'm just going to do me tonight in terms of that, because take a little time to kind of get into some things there prior to showing some film and talk about measurables, immeasurables, things that we just kind of discussed here. And there is a link up there on thehoosier.com for all that, as well as on Twitter. You can find it at Hoosier Tailgate, actually, for that link and the Hoosier.com. But yeah, tonight, just going to be by myself, and holiday weekend approaching. So I didn't want to burden too many people with trying to get them to come on. We'll pick up some more last week, but I've had a few great guys from the Hoosier.com and what they've done in terms of how they approach covering the Indiana Hoosiers, not just football, but all around, that are phenomenal guys that really embrace what everyone is around Indiana to be in terms of the excitement that they project in their writing. And they've done a great job with some of the things that Zach and Alec and, Drew, and you can go all the way down. Colin, I had Colin on last week. He did a great job as well. And it's interesting to get those guys' insights, because they've got their thumbs on the pulse of Indiana sports 24/7.
Yeah, and they're doing a hell of a job there. You get yourself a subscription and stay in tune with all of that as that information continues to come out. Just go to thehoosier.com. Was $1 for the first month, half off for the first year, man. So get there now and don't miss out. Hey, how about this? Indiana's post-spring projected win total that came out. I just kind of laughed because, a year ago they were at 5.5 games, And not that I'm Nostradamus, but I just laughed when I saw that, and I'm like, oh my, what to do something about that. That's some money on it.
Yeah.
But this year they put you right on the smacker. I mean, they nailed it.
Yeah.
8.5 is the over under, and they nailed it. It's are they going to win every home game, which is what Vegas is saying, and they got a half a shot to beat one of these other big time teams on the road. But that's that kind of confidence from Las Vegas is very, very telling.
Yeah, I mean, it's a recognition of what Coach Signetti and the staff were able to do last year with the team that they had. And this year, the outward projection that they're getting out in Vegas is a little bit stronger, and understanding so because of what they've been able to do with their players that they've got coming back on top of what they've been able to bring in via the portal. So I saw that too. I thought that was pretty interesting that they put it at 8.5, and it
because I mean I don't care what anybody says. This is no cupcake schedule. You open up Big Ten play with a top 10 game against Illinois, followed by a road game at Iowa, which how they're not ranked, that'll be awfully surprising. Then you go to at Oregon ranked. So boom, 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 right there. They're going to be tested, and we'll know exactly where Indiana is heading after those first 6 games.
Yeah, that road's that streak of games, and we've said it before, that is going to be a pretty good stretch of games, even though they don't have Michigan and Ohio State back to back like they've usually had in some seasons. Illinois will probably be a top 10 or top 15 team in the country coming in, and Iowa's got a new quarterback and an offense that now seems to be rolling on top of what they've got defensively. They've always been strong there. And then of course, Oregon, that will be, going out and playing. It's like going out and playing Ohio State, in that regard. So it will be a barn burner of a 3-game stretch, and we'll see how they adapt to it. I mean, it's going to be a testing early in the season. They got some of those games later last year after they had some confidence and such. So, that is going to be a grinder of a 3-game stretch.
Coach Shannon Griffith, make sure you join them tonight for the Hoosier Tailgate at thehoosier.com. We may get you back in here a little bit later.
Well, just give me a shout if you need me. I'll come back. I'm always willing to talk.
Will do, man. Appreciate you.
I don't see you, brother. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You as well. But more coming up from the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios right after this break.
Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right, no payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue, and you get it for just 0.9% financing. Or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used vehicles. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemooreSells@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. Located on 325 acres in beautiful Brown County, Indiana, Hard Truth Distilling Company is the biggest and the best craft distillery around. While Hard Truth is already known for producing internationally awarded whiskeys and spirits like Hard Truth's sour mash bourbons, sweet mash, and hard road ryes, as well as their cinnamon vodka and the always popular toasted coconut rum. Hard Truth Distillery offers so much more. With a full-service restaurant, ATV, and distillery tours, as well as live music, you can spend an entire day at Hard Truth Distillery while making your entire family or group happy. And that's the Hard Truth. Hard Truth products are available across Indiana, as well as many other states. So no matter where you shop, if they don't carry your favorite Hard Truth product, tell them you want the truth, the Hard Truth. Hard Truth Distilling Company encourages you to enjoy all of their products responsibly and to never drink and drive.
Welcome back to the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios on this Thursday. Glad to have you along. Appreciate you joining us. And Bob Kravitz will be along here in a little bit. Also on the program today, Chris Denari. What a day to have Chris on, the play-by-play voice of the Pacers. As wow. All you can say is wow. Again. They did it again. Bob Kravitz joining us here in just a minute or so. But I mean, if Tyrese Halliburton had drugged that toe back just another inch, that shot goes down, it's over right there. I mean, wow, wow. Again, the Pacers have done this so many times in these playoffs already. But last night, they really they stuck it right in the heart. You roll in to New York, to Madison Square Garden, game one, and you're down 14 with 2 minutes and 50 seconds to go. Oh, no. Yes. Aaron Neesmith said yes. 5 straight. Was it 5 straight? Or 6 straight? I don't even remember. Threes that he hit. Man, he went off and they just couldn't stop him. Bob Kravitz from bobkravitz.com joining us now. Bob, I was just talking about the Pacers.
Yes.
And wow, again, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. We've seen him do this, but last night was even a little more over the top. You're down 14 with 2 minutes and 50 seconds to go in Madison Square Garden.
It was unbelievable. I mean, I was thinking about the comebacks against Milwaukee, the comeback against Cleveland, and those were unlikely, amazing, ridiculous. But this one took the cake. I mean, 14 down, 2.5, or what did you say, 250 left. And Neesmith goes absolutely bananas. Absolutely bananas. And, not a complete shock because he is one of the best pure shooters in the NBA. But you think about it, he spent over 30 minutes chasing Jalen Brunson around, and he still, at the end of the game, had enough of a fitness level and still had the legs to make those shots in the clutch. It was remarkable. And then you got to love, it's too bad Halliburton, the choke sign was beautiful, but unfortunately it was only a 2-pointer. But they bailed him out, and that would have been embarrassing otherwise.
I mean, that was the time, too. And it did suck that wasn't a 3. An inch, man, an inch. My kingdom for a toe. Oh, a toe. My kingdom for a toe.
Yeah, Kevin Durant.
Toe.
That was a Kevin Durant situation. Remember that a couple of years ago?
Oh, yeah, man.
Kevin Durant, if he just wore a half a size smaller shoe, that would have been ball game. But just incredible. 14 points down. My wife's upstairs watching the game, and she yells down to me. She says, "You coming up?" I said, "Nope." Nope. I don't believe it until it's over. And if you are a Pacers fan and you ever leave a game early, then you have some issues. You you deserve the comeback that you're getting, because there is never a reason to walk out early on the Indiana Pacers.
No, especially these, and you never know who it's going to be. But Tyrese Halliburton did have another great night. I think a 30-point night. Aaron Nesmith, of course, with 20 fourth quarter points. I think he had 24 overall. But yeah, just crazy to see this comeback. And now the importance of this. New York obviously had home court advantage, and the Pacers did the same thing to the Knicks that they did to Cleveland. In one, you go in and you steal home court advantage away. Now against the Cavs, they were able to take two and really grind that knife. This is going to be a tough chore to come back to game 2 in New York, because they know that's it. They cannot lose.
They cannot lose. Yeah, and the crazy thing is that you if you're the New York Knicks, you got to wonder, what in the hell do we have to do to put these guys away? And look, in the playoffs, one game does not roll over into the next game. But I got to think that it's in the Knicks' mind right now that they've got to kill this team to put them away. I mean, they just got to. I mean, 14 points at 2.5 left. That ain't enough. It just ain't enough.
No, and they've shown that they can do it against anybody. They've done it against the number 1 seed, the Cavs, and now they're taking on the other Dragon Slayer, the Knicks, who took out the number 2 seeded Boston Celtics.
Well, the crazy thing is, the Knicks, when Brunson went out and they went on a 17-6 run,
they were up 1 point
way.
at that time.
What's that?
They were up 1 point. The Knicks were up 1 point at that time, and everybody was afraid that they're gonna go down. They're going to get in trouble here.
Well, Cameron Payne, of all people, who's not even in their 7-man rotation, he comes in to hit shots. Mitchell Robinson got a bunch of key rebounds. It was just, everything was working against the Pacers. It just looked like one of those games where another 30 seconds and Rick might have emptied the bench. And he didn't, and here they come. It is absolutely astonishing. Now, it's hard to walk that tightrope every game. So they've got to be better. I mean, they dominated in the points off turnovers, and they held up in the rebounding battle, but you just can't go down 14 with 2.5 and hope to make a habit of that, even though they kind of have.
No, and I heard Rick Carlisle in the locker room afterwards, and there was no celebrating.
None.
No, it was business. I mean, it was straight business, and it was not even this is what I expect of you guys out of you. It was just very short, very sweet. I forget exactly what he said.
Yeah,
you probably
basically
did.
we got 7 to go,
Yeah. Haven't done anything yet. Haven't done anything.
And Rick has been a master at, kind of guiding these guys emotionally through this postseason. And let's give Rick Carlisle a ton of credit. They won 2 challenges at the end of that game that were absolutely enormous. Meanwhile, Thibodeau used his challenge early and
got it wrong.
And Carlisle got it right twice. And those were 2 plays that they absolutely had to have. I mean, when you come back from 14 down with 2.5 to go, you need everything to go right, including the ball bouncing about 500 feet in the air after it hits the back rim and falling through to tie the game.
Absolutely. And I saw the guys afterwards, Chuck and the guys talking about this very thing, that the Knicks, and the question, Ernie put the question to him, can the Knicks play with the Pacers by running these same 7 guys? And the answer unequivocally from all of the panel, no, no,
No.
no, no. And Chuck apparently picked the Pacers. He said, that's why I picked them to win them in this series.
Well, I watched the pregame show, and he was kind of back and forth. He's like, yeah, I guess after the game, he was pretty sure the Pacers were going to win this playoff series. So, yeah, there was a certain amount of certainty there that didn't exist prior to the game. But, yeah, I mean, and if you're the Knicks, you've just got to be crestfallen, just crestfallen. You had this game, my God, and to blow it like that. And let's face it, Halliburton was right. He was absolutely right.
They talked about there were players at times that were bent over, grabbing their shorts, and they're saying, boy, you better hope this series don't go 7 games, because it's going to be like that every night. Plus, now, I talked about this already earlier in the week, these games are every other day now. So it's going to be West Conference game, East Conference game, West Conference game, East Conference game. Just bam, bam, bam. These are 2 days. While they're used to that during the season at times, this is playoffs, man. And it's going to be this way for a solid week and a half or so.
And you can't expect guys like Cameron Payne and Trey McBride to come off the bench and have the kinds of games that they had. I mean, they had a night where their bench outplayed the Pacers bench, which is incredible. And yet they still found a way to lose. So if you're the Knicks, you got to be thinking, what's it going to take to put these guys away?
Yeah. Like I heard Thibodeau in the post as well, is no lead is safe. And he just said, no lead is safe.
Not against these guys.
No. And they have to be in shock though, still. I mean, when you're up 14 at home and the way that they were playing, you can't, they didn't see it coming, but it wasn't like Neesmith was, shooting these from 1,000 feet away. He was getting off good shots half the time.
Yeah. I mean, I think 1 or 2 of them was really contested. The other ones were open, and why you would leave a shooter of, 50% 3-point shooter or 40 something, I think, maybe 50. I don't remember, but why you would leave a great shooter alone. I mean, I have no idea. I don't know what the Knicks were doing. And they're defensively, so they're leading by, let's see, what was it? Or the Knicks, the Pacers led by a point, and we're taking the ball in bounds, and they let Obi Toppin go to the basket and dunk it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like, what? You have a foul to give, for God's sake. I thought Tom Thibodeau, who is a good coach, I thought that he fell apart there at the end of the game.
Well, he had to be worn out because of just running those 7 guys, and for this to be game 1, and boy, it's too late to get better at cardio right now, because it's happening now.
Yeah, I picked the Pacers in 7 because I really felt that it would be, and maybe it'll be shorter than that, but I really felt that this would be very much like last year's series, where the Pacers just outlasted them. They run and they play so physically. I mean, you saw Neesmith fighting over every screen. I mean, freaking Brunson still went for what, 43, 42? Towns went for, I think, 30 some odd. I mean, their stars played like stars, but it still wasn't enough. It's just amazing.
It wasn't enough. It's never enough. The Indianapolis 500 about to start. They're almost at the starting grid, but Carb Day coming up tomorrow. The temperatures, man, look like they're going to be cool, which has an effect on track speed, track temperature, tire wear, all of that stuff.
It will, but I will say that's an important story for race day. But the story that's dominated this whole month of May has been the Penske situation. And quite frankly, and I haven't written this yet, I should, but I just wrote my Pacers column, and I'm going to write an Irsay column here in the next couple of minutes. What was I saying?
Speedway, the track.
I don't believe that Power and Newgarden should be allowed to race in this year's 500. I think they should have been canned, not canned, but they should not have been allowed to race in the 500. Just the way they got rid of Cindric and all those other guys. If you really want to make a statement about integrity, and that's an important statement given the fact that Penske owns everything and also happens to be the most important owner in the sport. If you want to make a statement for integrity, you don't let them race in the Indianapolis 500.
Yeah, it's we know that's not going to happen.
No,
but it is what was it that they both got busted for the same thing, right?
Right, the attenuator or something like that.
Yeah, I thought, don't you have some of those in the garage?
Oh yeah. In fact, after I write my Irsay column, I'm gonna work on my attenuator.
Yes. So didn't it boost speed or something?
No, it's a safety. It's a safety thing. It's not even something that makes you go faster. It's not like the push to pass, which was the problem previously. No, this attenuator, from what I understand, is more of a safety. You know, your listeners can correct me if I'm wrong, because I often am, but I believe it's a safety issue, and they didn't. I guess it's not something they always check, or have not checked in the past. So, they got caught, and I don't believe those guys should be racing in the 500. But again, it's that's just a wish list.
Well, but the drivers have nothing to do. As Dusty Banner says, whoops, that's the wrong one. But that the drivers don't turn the wrenches, and that's why the crew chiefs get the brunt of the penalty, because it's their job to know everything on that car, while the driver does not.
I understand, but if your team was caught trying to cheat, like the New England Patriots, let's say, in Deflategate, they should not be allowed. If it's proven, as it was here, that there was some cheating going on, I don't believe the team should be allowed to run their cars, even though they're 32 and 33. Yeah, it's not Newgarden's fault. It's not Will Power's fault, but the team needs to bear the brunt of this, and that's kind of how I feel about it.
I hear you. And then we've got Kyle Larson running the double does not have the same buzz this year that it did last year. It's part of it is he's not running quite as well. But other than that, maybe it's because you've got so many storylines. Joseph Newgarden, who is the part of the conversation we're having right now, but he'll be coming from the back, trying to win his third straight. Going to be pretty difficult coming from the back of the field.
Nobody, I think I read nobody outside of the top 26 or 28. Have come back to win the race. So it's highly unlikely. If anybody is capable of it, it's Joseph Newgarden, given his history. But yeah, I think with all the back markers he's going to have to deal with, that's going to be difficult.
Something about ganja down in Jamaica. How was Jamaica, man?
Jamaica was great fun. We had a good time. The answer to the question is yes. And
always honest.
Yeah, it's part of life down there. I was, I mean, I wasn't off the plane 15 minutes before somebody offered me something. I was like, okay, well, we're taken care of for the trip.
Well, I'm glad to hear you enjoyed it, man. And make sure
Had
you're
a great
going to
time.
Bob Kravitz. Make sure you're going to bobkravitz.com for his latest piece. It's out right now on
Yes,
the Pacers. All right, brother.
And I'll have something on Jim Irsay's passing later in the day.
Yeah, that shame. We talked about that. I'll look forward to talking to you about that next time as well.
Sounds good.
Absolutely. Bob Kravitz from bobkravitz.com joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Back with more right after this.
Know a team or group needing a fundraiser? Boost Fundraising raises more money faster and offers the most unique and user-friendly online fundraiser in the nation. Your team receives personalized fundraising pages for each team member. Free team-branded promo gifts shipped to each donor. Boost Fundraising does it all. Sports teams, marching bands, charity causes, and community groups. Go to boostfundraising.com and be sure to enter the promo code COYLE, that's COYLE, to receive a discounted fundraiser. Located on 325 acres in beautiful Brown County, Indiana, Hard Truth Distilling Company is the biggest and the best craft distillery around. While Hard Truth is already known for producing internationally awarded whiskeys and spirits like Hard Truth Sour Mash Bourbons, Sweet Mash, and Hard Road Ryes, as well as their cinnamon vodka and the always popular Toasted Coconut Rum. Hard Truth Distillery offers so much more. With a full-service restaurant, ATV, and distillery tours, as well as live music, you can spend an entire day at Hard Truth Distillery while making your entire family or group happy. And that's the Hard Truth. Hard Truth products are available across Indiana, as well as many other states. So no matter where you shop, if they don't carry your favorite Hard Truth product, tell them you want the truth, the Hard Truth. Hard Truth Distilling Company encourages you to enjoy all of their products responsibly and to never drink and drive.
Welcome back to the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios on this Thursday, and fortunately to have just perfectly timing Chris Denari with us. Was there a ball game? Was there a game last night?
I'll tell you what, Jim, what we are watching on a weekly basis is simply incredible. The Pacers last night down 9, less than a minute, down 14 with 2.5 minutes, down 17 in the fourth quarter, and they rally at Madison Square Garden to take game one. Just an amazing performance. What can you say? Aaron Nesmith, 6 3-pointers in the fourth quarter. Tyrese Halliburton making the big shot to force overtime, and then, having to come back in overtime after giving up the first 4 points. And there he is. He's got his Pacers jersey on.
I'm ready, Coach. Put me in.
I mean,
I meant to have this on. I forgot. I feel remiss that I forgot to put.
Well, I've got my Pacers garb on as well. Jim, it's almost, how do you even talk about it? I mean, I do play for a living, and I'm almost speechless watching what happens. And, here's what they've done. These are just some numbers that I've put together. Everybody knows about these playoff comebacks against Milwaukee, Cleveland, and now New York. But think about this. They've won 5 straight road playoff games. They've won all 6 of their clutch playoff games, which clutch is plus or minus 5 points with 5 minutes to play. And if you go back to the end of the regular season, in their last 16 clutch games, they've won 15 of them. The only one they lost was when LeBron James tipped in a shot at the buzzer for the Lakers to beat the Pacers at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Other than that, they've won every close game they've played in. So, I went to bed late. I got up early. I put on Get Up with Greenberg and Jay Williams. And, I mean, it's been wall-to-wall Pacers Knicks, as you would expect especially with the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals. But just what a fantastic performance last night by the Pacers.
Again, they do what they have to do, and it's elevated. This is another notch up. I mean, what they did against Milwaukee, they took care of business. They were expected to do that, but then against Cleveland, that was expected to be a fist fight, 7-game series. They take care of them easily, and now though. They roll into Madison Square Garden. The Knicks are rolling. They look good. They're up. They've got a 14-point lead now with 2 minutes and 50 seconds to go. I guarantee you there were some fans that were probably leaving, hitting the exits. And then Mr. Neesmith, somebody pulled his string, baby. And, man, it was.
I mean, those were some deep threes he hit too, right? I mean, why New York on a few of those occasions went under ball screens. I mean, this is a guy that shot 43% from 3-point range in the regular season. He was top 10 in the NBA. He's just been a great acquisition by the Pacers front office a few years ago in the trade for Malcolm Brogdon. I know that ultimately for Boston, it ended up they got Drew Holiday. But I know in talking to Brad Stevens, he hated to give up Aaron Neesmith. And I think we're all seeing why. I mean, this guy is as tough as they come, just a tremendous kid. I like him a lot off the floor. I'm around him a lot. To see him put the Pacers in that position. And then again, Jim, I've got the play-by-play here. When you're down 9 with less than a minute to go, everything has to go right? And again, everything goes right for the Pacers. They make all the plays they need to make. New York helped them out by missing some free throws. We oftentimes watch many a game that it comes down to free throw shooting, and that opened the door for the Pacers to force the game to overtime and then ultimately win in overtime.
Yeah, man, my kingdom for a toe. You need a toe, I can get you a toe. I can get you a toe by 3:30 with nail polish. For all you Lebowski fans out there. But yeah, just if he could have drug that toe back 1 inch, that would have been a 3-point dagger. And I don't know if what would have been more impressive that they won then or having to win in overtime.
Yeah.
I
think you're right, Jim, because think about it. They overcame the Garden down 14 to force overtime. And then it looked like the Knicks, they scored on their first couple of possessions, or they had a 4-point lead. And then Miles had that big block against Brunson that led to the 3-point basket by Nembhard. But they had to survive that because you could feel, I'm sitting in my living room watching, but you could feel the energy that was coming out of Madison Square Garden. And I will say, having broadcast many a game over my 19 years there, it's a special place. It may be old, but there is magic in that building. And fortunately for the Pacers, the magic was on their side. The fact of the matter that ball that Tyrese shot at the end of regulation, what did that go? 10 feet up in the air and then through the net. I mean, that was an incredible play.
And you kind of just knew, because it was like in slow motion. That thing just went up. All eyes are on this basketball for so long because it took that very high bounce, and everybody's just holding their breath. It's just got kind of quiet, and then back through, and then it was pandemonium.
Well, I heard what Bob Kravitz said, and I've listened to a lot of sports talk radio. We learned just prior to tip-off last night that Jim Irsay passes away, and I think I said this on Eddie White's postgame show last night. Before I got the Pacers job, I was the Colts postgame host on their radio network for 4 or 5 years. So, I'm very much in tune with both the Pacers and the Colts from my time spending with them. And all I could think of, the last tweet that Jim Irsay put out yesterday before he passed was reach out to Herb Simon and the Pacers to go get a win. And, there was part of me when that ball was up there and you couldn't see it. I said, maybe Jim Irsay is looking down on the Pacers because on the TV screen, you lost sight of the ball. I mean, it was above the backboard. And when it went through, I screamed. I said, my wife, I go, it went in. I honestly couldn't believe.
I have to admit that I screamed as well, because it was just such a shocking thing. And you knew that this completed a shocking turnaround. Shenanigans is pointing out that at the 119-105 mark, which I think was at 2 minutes and 50 seconds to go, the Knicks had a 99.7% wins percentage. That's virtually impossible, but the Pacers have done that now 3 times this year. This one's a little different than the other two. I don't know what the score was at the 42nd mark, but
here's some stats that I've from the internet, from Twitter and ESPN. Since 96-97, teams that were down 7 in the last 50 seconds are 4 and 1,702, and the Pacers have 3 of those wins this year. Since 98, when a team is trailed by 9 or more in the final minute, by -9 in the final minute in the playoffs, teams were 0 and 1,414. It's now 1. And I mean, you can just go on and on. In the last 20 years, to win a road game down 14, as you said, with 2:50 to play, it had never happened in the history of the NBA. So what we saw last night and what we saw in Cleveland and what we saw against Milwaukee, I mean, Jim, we've never seen anything like this in the history of the NBA.
I've got to take a quick break. If you can hang around, I'd like to talk about Indy a little bit, and maybe a little bit more Pacers. Chris Denari with us. More coming up from the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios right after these messages.
If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. Located on 325 acres in beautiful Brown County, Indiana, Hard Truth Distilling Company is the biggest and the best craft distillery around. While Hard Truth is already known for producing internationally awarded whiskeys and spirits like Hard Truth Sour Mash Bourbons, Sweet Mash, and Hard Road Rye, as well as their cinnamon vodka and the always popular Toasted Coconut Rum. Hard Truth Distillery offers so much more. With a full-service restaurant, ATV, and distillery tours, as well as live music, you can spend an entire day at Hard Truth Distillery while making your entire family or group happy. And that's the Hard Truth. Hard Truth products are available across Indiana, as well as many other states. So no matter where you shop, if they don't carry your favorite Hard Truth product, tell them you want the truth, the Hard Truth. Hard Truth Distilling Company encourages you to enjoy all of their products responsibly and to never drink and drive. When it comes to apparel and promotions, Freethink has you covered, literally, whether it's 24 or 200 shirts for sports leagues, businesses, or groups. Freethink Apparel and Promotions can also create your very own merchandising store. Freethink Apparel and Promotions did it for Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and they can do it for you. Whether it's screen printing, embroidery, digital printing, promotional products, vehicle wraps, or anything else under the promotional line. See what Freethink Apparel and Promotions can do for you at freethinkapparel.com. Welcome back to the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios on this Thursday, win day, baby, for the Pacers. Chris Denari, the voice of the Pacers, with us now, and we were celebrating that win, man, and it was a quite just, man, they just keep doing it, and it's like, it's unbelievable. And now to win game 1 on the road and to steal back home court advantage, that's huge for this for the Pacers in this series. And man, they are just going to keep New York on the run, and if they can keep them on their heels, this is going to be
something, because we might be seeing these Pacers in the NBA Finals.
Yeah, it would be something. I mean, 25 years ago, Pacers, Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals, and the Pacers got the job done behind Reggie Miller and company, and they went to their only NBA Finals, losing to Kobe and Shaq. I've just felt like as this playoff run has progressed that this is a special group, and I think it's a group that can be together for a number of years, Jim. And, maybe back in October to talk NBA championship, probably wasn't something any of us thought about. But I really believe this team is championship worthy now. And, still a long way to go. Only one. You've got to get 3 more to get to the NBA Finals. But to get the first game, also the way you got it, because now you have to believe that the Knicks are going to start questioning themselves a little bit. Similar to what the Knicks did to the Celtics in the last series. Remember, New York twice trailed by 20 in the second half and came back to win. And that, Boston struggled maintaining leads. So you have to wonder how that affects the Knicks. And, this is a Pacers team with great confidence. They have great camaraderie, great chemistry. It's a group that's been together for a couple of years. They have great trust in one another. So even when things go south, as it did in that third quarter and early fourth quarter, the Pacers still have a belief. And it's not just one guy. It's not just Siakam. It's not just Halliburton. It's Nembhard. It's Nesmith. It's Obi Toppin, what he did last night. And I think that's the great beauty of this team. Game 2 tomorrow night, it might be Benedict Mathurin scoring 30 off the bench. So I think that's one of the strengths that Indiana has. And I would say this. I think late, the Knicks wore down. Tom Thibodeau's not.
Oh, they were talking about that on TNT postgame.
He have a very deep rotation. And Rick Carlisle said after the game that the 7 minutes that Ben Shepherd played last night, and while you look at the box score, and Ben Shepherd in, 7 minutes, 0 for 1 from the field, an assist. But he helped preserve Nesmith by allowing him to have 7 minutes that he could sit. And I don't think the Knicks had that. Now, I will give the Knicks credit. They made that 14-0 run in the fourth quarter with Jalen Brunson on the bench. Yeah. But I think the rest of the Knicks, the Harts and Anunoby, I tend to think they ran out of gas. It's exactly what happened to the Cavaliers in the last series. And I think that's one of the great strengths the Pacers have moving forward.
Yeah, and like I said, Chuck said that's why he picked the Pacers to win this series, is because it's going to be like that every night. And they're playing every other night. You don't have the 3-day rest now, right, like you did in the previous series. So it's going to be coming at you. And if their series were to go longer, that's just going to make it harder on the Knicks. So we'll certainly see and keep following along as the Game 2, man, comes right back at us. What's tomorrow night?
Yeah, tomorrow night. Yeah, 8 o'clock. Tomorrow night. It's a busy day for me. I'll be out at Carb Day as we sort of go through rehearsals, getting ready for calling the 500 on Sunday. And then tomorrow night, it's already sold out. 17,000 tickets, I believe, have already been distributed for a watch party at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Now, I don't know if 17,000 people will show up, but I know a year ago when we had a watch party for the championship game of that in-season tournament, we probably had 10 or 12,000 in the building. And I believe after a win like last night, we may have a sellout tomorrow night, and I'll be working that event as well. We'll be watching the game on the big screen at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Just a lot of enthusiasm and momentum for this Pacers team. And then, Jim, on Saturday, think about this in Indianapolis, what you have going on. You have the 500 Festival Parade Saturday afternoon. At the same time, at 1 o'clock, the Fever play the New York Liberty, and you'll have a sellout crowd of 17,000 downtown Indianapolis for that. So we are in a place that is just incredible right now when you put all of this together. And then, unfortunately, the passing of Jim Irsay, probably this time right now is one of the bigger news cycles, especially from a sports standpoint, that we've ever seen in Indianapolis.
True that. We're the Indianapolis 500 is upon us. We've got the Pacers in the NBA playoffs and playing very well. And then, of course, Jim Irsay, the longtime owner of the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah.
What is that going to do to the Colts organization? I'm sure that things were in place,
Yeah.
but it's a big difference because Jim Irsay was the guy running that, and Jim Irsay did things that how Jim Irsay wanted to do them, and he approached them how he wanted it. And I'm not saying that's good, bad, or there other. I'm just saying that's how he did it. So now you're going to have someone completely different.
Well, I think the good thing is unfortunately, with all the issues that Jim has had over the years with his health, his daughters have really stepped forward and done a lot. And just reading through the tea leaves, Carly Irsay Gordon has been very involved, and I think the three sisters will share the ownership duties of the Indianapolis Colts. So it will stay in the Irsay family, which, just like from a Simon perspective, Herb Simon, has ownership of the Pacers, but the Simon family is very involved. And those two families have been huge for the city of Indianapolis. Herb and his brother Mel buying the Pacers back 40 years ago to keep the Pacers in Indianapolis and in the NBA. And then the Irsay family, Bob Irsay, moving the Colts from Baltimore to Indianapolis. I mean, what would our city be without those two professional franchises? I mean, we love sports. I mean, that's what we're doing right now. We're talking about sports, and it's a fabric of our community. It's a fabric of the country, and it is so important to what we do and the civic pride that we have. So, I have great faith in the Irsay sisters and the daughters that they will continue to move this franchise forward. And, I still think great things are ahead for both the Pacers and the Colts.
The Indianapolis 500, the flag drops on Sunday. Chris will be up high atop turn 4. And, man, there are more storylines now than there were 2 weeks ago. Now we've got a rookie on the pole that has never ran an oval race, Robert Schwartzman from Tel Aviv, Israel. That was not on my bingo card, Chris.
No, it wasn't on my bingo card either. So that's going to be something to watch. This is the first oval of the year, first time he's had a chance to be on an oval leading the race. It's going to be fascinating when they come out of turn 4, when I throw it to Mark Janes for the first lap, just to see how he leads this field out of 4. And again, you can't win the race on the first lap. I mean, the veteran drivers will tell you that. So it will be interesting to see what kind of pace he has coming out of 4 going down the front straightaway.
Yeah, and there's talk, who's going to lead that first lap. I would put my money on this dude. If you could come in there with as little experience as he's had, with a team that is with as little experience as they've had, and do what no one has done since 1990s or 83, my money's on you to lead that first lap at least.
Yeah, ironically, it's the first rookie, as you said, since 1983, Teo Fabi. That was my first Indianapolis 500-mile race. I was an intern at WRTV Channel 6 that spring. I graduated from Wabash College that spring. And the interns, think about this, Jim, back in the day, we're old enough that we remember the photographers had the camera, and then you carried a 3/4-inch deck with the physical tapes. And that was my responsibility on race day, was to carry the recording deck for my photographer along pit road. That was my first Indianapolis 500 back 42 years ago. So it's ironic that the first rookie to lead the race is dating back to my first Indianapolis 500.
Bringing it full circle. And then that's not only just that, but you've got Sato on the front row, who is not even a full-time driver anymore, but able to get up close to the pole position. And then O'Rourke.
Pato Award, yeah.
Pato Award up there. So what an international flavor you've got on the front row. And then you have the the guys that for a little bit further back that also have storylines, of course, Joseph Newgarden trying to win his third straight, become the first driver ever in the history of the Indianapolis 500. And there's been the talk about them. Bob was on with us earlier, and he doesn't think that those guys should be running for failing the inspections on that certain day. But I can't remember, like with NASCAR, if you fail inspection, do they send you back to fix it and you go to the back of the line?
Yeah, usually that's what happens. It's unfortunate, and I thought it was well addressed by Doug Bowles, and then yesterday by Roger Penske making the decision that he did with his team. But you're right. Usually when you see this happen, unfortunately a lot where there's that use the wrong part, or you fail inspection. It's not usually that you're eliminated from the race. You're just sent to the back row. And that's where Will Power and Joseph Newgarden will start, 32nd and 33rd. So that's also going to be something to watch, Jim, from the standpoint that how quickly do they move forward? Because those are two really good cars, right? Penske, Joseph Newgarden's a two-time winner, and as you said, going for 3 straight. So that's also a fascinating storyline to see how quickly they can move through the field to put themselves in position to potentially win the race from the back row.
Yeah, can they get through that traffic? That would be another astonishing feat to get it done that way, to climb through all that traffic. Plus, you've got several other players in this game that are very worthy, and none more so than Alex Palou, who is just made a mockery of the season so far. How do you win 5 out of 6 races in this at this level?
Yeah, I mean, what he's done, leading the laps, leading the races, he's got a huge points lead. If he were to win this Indianapolis 500, you still have a little over half the season to go. It would almost be a rout. I mean, he would have to almost fall apart to not win the points total again. So,
couldn't he stop? Do you have to enter every race?
No, I think you want to earn your paycheck. So, but you're right. He can almost sit on the sideline.
He can start and pull over. Yeah, so, all right, y'all go have fun.
But I mean, he wants to have a magical year. He's already off to that magical year. And if he could add the Indianapolis 500 to the resume that he's built early in this season, I mean, we've not seen anything like it in IndyCar.
No, and it's just and he's up fast in the testing now, practice, whatever. Yeah. He's got his speed up. I mean, he is the guy to look out for.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun tomorrow. Again, 11 o'clock Carb Day. They run for a couple of hours to see what teams do, how they run in traffic, all those kinds of things. It used to be that Carb Day was more show. Now it's a lot of work. I mean, drivers will tell you they'll put in a significant number of laps to find what's working, what's not working with their car. So it'll be an exciting day at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and Carburation Day during the day, the concert out at IMS, and then, of course, Pacers-Knicks Game 2 tomorrow night in the Eastern Conference Finals.
What a day, man. What a weekend in the city of Indianapolis, the greatest sports town in the world.
It is, and I'm happy to be a part of it. It's going to be, like I said, I didn't get much sleep last night, went to bed late, got up early. Don't know how much sleep I'll get over the weekend, but sleep's for another day.
There you go, buddy. Appreciate you. Chris Denari, the voice of the Indiana Pacers, joining us on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
All right. Thanks, Jim.
You betcha. Hey, we've got more coming up. When we return, we'll take a quick pause, and we'll be back with plenty more from the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios.
The ISC Sports Network is your home for sports content across the Hoosier State. Find us live on TV and streaming or archived on our website and our app. The ISC is your one-stop shop for the content you want to see, including high school sports, college sports, and other great events throughout the year. Subscribe to our streaming service and get access to it all ISC. Local lives here.
Know a team or group needing a fundraiser? Boost Fundraising raises more money faster and offers the most unique and user-friendly online fundraiser in the nation. Your team receives personalized fundraising pages for each team member. Free team-branded promo gifts shipped to each donor. Boost Fundraising does it all. Sports teams, marching bands, charity causes, and community groups. Go to boostfundraising.com and be sure to enter the promo code COYLE, that's COYLE, to receive a discounted fundraiser. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. When it comes to apparel and promotions, FreeThink has you covered, literally, whether it's 24 or 200 shirts for sports leagues, businesses, or groups. FreeThink Apparel and Promotions can also create your very own merchandising store. FreeThink Apparel and Promotions did it for Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and they can do it for you. Whether it's screen printing, embroidery, digital printing, promotional products, vehicle wraps, or anything else under the promotional line. See what FreeThink Apparel and Promotions can do for you at freethinkapparel.com. Welcome back to the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios on this Thursday. Glad to have you along. Looking forward to talking to Fran Fraschilla here in a little while. As Mike DeCourcy told me the other day that he's the guy to talk to when it comes to the subject of international players, something I think you're going to see a prolification of here soon. But we'll talk more about that with Fran when he joins us. But man, what a time to be in Indy. Of course, isn't it always that way? There's always something going on. TBT site this summer in July, so you've got that to look forward to as well. These NBA playoffs, if the Pacers can win this series, this will go on for another 3 weeks. Man, so basketball into the summertime. Can you imagine that? But, man, can you imagine Indianapolis with the NBA finals going? Whoo, it'll be rocking, no doubt. Downtown Indianapolis, the way it's set up, it's New York. You can't rock around the Madison Square Garden. There's just so much going on. Hell, it sits on top of a subway outlet there, so it will be just something. And then right now you've got the rest of this week for the Indianapolis 500, all the celebration that is going on with that, the fact that it's sold out. You'll be able to watch it. The grandstands are sold out. It's just the impact that this race has, the fact that they're selling out this thing is mind-boggling. There were, so many other sporting events, NASCAR, they've had a huge drop off, but you look at now the Indianapolis 500 is an event. I get that. It's a one-off. But the Kentucky Derby, now they had some weather issues, but they didn't see this surge in popularity. This is only the second time since the 100th running, I think, that they've done this. So congratulations, everybody. But man, the people that have come from so far away, so many different places, I would love to just sit in a chair and as people walk by, ask them, hey, where are you from? Where are you from? What brought you here? Because you could probably just get thousands and thousands of different answers just sitting there and talking to people as they walk by. The things that bring them here, the reasons, all the different people from so many different walks of life, from so many different places, different countries, every state in the country. That's a fact. Even Alaska. I'm sure there'll be some Alaskans there as well. So it's a major event. Indianapolis has 2 gigantic events going on at the same time, but
they're a city that can handle it all, and we look forward to that. Hate to the news about Jim Irsay, very, very hard for Colts fans and the Colts organization especially. Man, it is definitely, when you have an organization that plays such a huge part in the city like the Colts have, they have given it more of an identity. Chris Irsay talked about, what would the city be like without the Pacers and the Colts? It is part of the identity that you get. And right now the Pacers are boosting that identity with their play on the court. The Colts have done so previously, haven't done so much lately, but still the Colts are an NFL team is a big time deal. When you're a city that has an NFL team, that's a major, major thing. Any pro team is a big deal, but an NFL team, it is that's the upper echelon in my minds. But the most important player of the Colts Indianapolis era posted that he was heartbroken over the death of team owner Jim Irsay, and of course that's Peyton Manning. Hall of Famer Peyton Manning posted on social media Wednesday night, in the wake of the team owner's death at age 65. I am heartbroken to hear about Jim Irsay's passing. He was an incredibly generous and passionate owner, and I will always be indebted to him for giving me my start in the NFL. His love for the Colts and the city of Indy was unmatched. His impact on the players who played for him will not be forgotten. My thoughts and prayers are with his family and everyone in the Colts community. He will be missed. Jim, rest in peace, my friend. Number 18. Irsay was a player's owner. You never, I know that there were some here and there, but for the most part, man, they both seem to like playing for him, and that's not always the case. So, and that certainly affects how the team is playing and their mindset at the time. So sad to see about that. And hopefully the Colts will continue to roll on, and the Irsay family will continue to have a successful run with them. Eric says the fact that you can go to the Indy 500, then to a Fever game, and then wait a day or two and go to a Pacers game has to be a big sale for tourism. Well, you can't go to the 500 then a Fevers game. You can go to the 500 and then a Pacers game, because the Pacers game follows the Indianapolis 500 on Sunday. Game 3 of this series will play that evening, as well as will the NASCAR race down in Charlotte, the Coca-Cola 600, the Old World 600. But Kyle Larson starting in the Indianapolis 500 will be running in Indy, and then jump on a helicopter and a jet and head to Charlotte, jump in another helicopter, jump right to the track, jump out, run to his car, get ready to get going for 600 more miles. But can you imagine? It would be nicer, I'm sure, if you could get the 600 miles out of the way first. But Indianapolis 500 comes first, and then 600 more miles in his NASCAR car when he gets to the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Now, is this the All-Star race or I think it's the Coke 600, but a points race. So very important for those guys. Looking forward to talking to Fran Fraschilla, ESPN broadcaster, when in the next segment here, rather. I really wish that we got to see him more. I love listening to him do games, and I really wish we got to hear him more, but he does mostly Big 12 games there in that part for ESPN. And so, but you never know in the future, man, how things move around. So hopefully that will happen sometime. But he lives out west, man. I didn't know that. I look forward to talking to him about that out in Colorado. What a beautiful part of the country to live in. But We're going to take a pause for the cause here in just a few moments, and we'll get Fran in here. Jason says he remembers when Kyle Larson was hanging on a telephone pole at Bloomington Speedway. Man, but that must have been a while ago. But you did have Chase Briscoe here he was here last year before the Brickyard race. So I talked with Chase out there last year. So pretty cool. Robert says if it rains, you'll have Tony Kanaan in the number 17 back there with the Penske cars. Yeah, he's the fill-in driver if that happens. So we'll certainly see. Hopefully not. Hopefully it does. Doesn't look like there's a big chance for rain Sunday. So that's good. Just cool temperatures, man, which might mean faster speeds. We've got more coming up from the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios. We're back with it and more on the other side of these messages.
The ISC Sports Network is your home for sports content across the Hoosier State. Find us live on TV and streaming or archived on our website and our app. The ISC is your one-stop shop for the content you want to see, including high school sports, college sports, and other great events throughout the year. Subscribe to our streaming service and get access to it all. ISC, local lives here.
Know a team or group needing a fundraiser? Boost Fundraising raises more money faster and offers the most unique and user-friendly online fundraiser in the nation. Your team receives personalized fundraising pages for each team member. Free team-branded promo gifts shipped to each donor. Boost Fundraising does it all. Sports teams, marching bands, charity causes, and community groups. Go to boostfundraising.com and be sure to enter the promo code COYLE, that's C-O-Y-L-E, to receive a discounted fundraiser. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. When it comes to apparel and promotions, Freethink has you covered, literally, whether it's 24 or 200 shirts for sports leagues, businesses, or groups. Freethink Apparel and Promotions can also create your very own merchandising store. Freethink Apparel and Promotions did it for Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and they can do it for you. Whether it's screen printing, embroidery, digital printing, promotional products, vehicle wraps, or anything else under the promotional line. See what Freethink Apparel and Promotions can do for you at freethinkapparel.com. Welcome back to the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios on this Thursday, and it is cool out there, man. But one place that's not cool is on the shooting hands of the Indiana Pacers, especially Aaron Nesmith. Whoo, mercy. Tyrone wants me to ask Fran about the launching of the Asian University Basketball League this summer. What is that something he's a part of? We'll do that once we get him on here. Well, he may not have known it was a video link, but we'll find out no matter what. If I have to call him, we'll call him. But yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know anything about the Asian Basketball League. What Asian University Basketball League. But I will say this. Robert says all the weather reports are trying to convince us that the rain will miss Indianapolis. And speaking of missing, we are not going to miss Coach Fran Fraschilla. How are you doing, sir?
Doing good, Jim. Good morning in Indy. What a night, huh? What a night.
Oh,
I'm a Knicks fan. Do not rub it in.
Oh, man. I you know what? I've never worn this ever. And I just felt Chris Denari, who is the voice of the Pacers, is on with us each Thursday. And fortunately, it worked out that today was that day. And yeah, I'm like, are you kidding me? This is the third time in the playoffs they have done something that has rarely been done before. I think twice they were down 8 or more with under 40 seconds to go, and that's only happened 3 times, and they just keep. But last night, you almost have to feel bad for the Knicks because it's like they're like, what can we do, man? We were up 14 with 2:50 to go.
I remember Reggie and Patrick Ewing, and I was in New York back then coaching, and just amazing. I've known Tyrese Halliburton since his freshman year at Iowa State, and what a great young man. Now, I didn't see the cockiness at Iowa State that I see now on the court, because as you know, Jim, off the court, he's a wonderful young man, wonderful family. I think we got to get John Halliburton back in the arena for games 3 and 4, like Barkley said. But
I heard, they were politicking for that last night.
Yeah,
I heard that.
Yeah. So anyway, great night for basketball in Indianapolis, and it's a long series. I'm still going to root for my Knicks, but I do pull for Tyrese because of our friendship.
Yeah, I think this still goes 7 games. You can't count the Knicks out. They're going to come back and try to steal one back in Indianapolis to get that home court advantage back.
Yep.
And in addition to that, Sunday is game 3 in Indianapolis that evening. But during the day, you've got a little race called the Indianapolis 500 going on.
Yeah. I've heard about that. That's pretty something called the Brickyard. Is that
Yeah, they've got someplace there they run that thing on, but sold out 300. It'll be like 350,000 people there. It's going to be nuts in Indianapolis. But
no question.
How's everything been going for you since the season's over? Get some rest, get to refresh, because I know that during the season it's nonstop, like these playoffs. Bam, 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 bam.
Well, I'm blessed. I really am. I've made a really wonderful transition from 23 years of coaching to now 22 years at ESPN. It's a family business. I got 2 sons coaching. One's in college. The other one is with the Washington Wizards. Young coach, going to be a star, I think. But no, basketball consumes my life literally every day of the week, simply because I've been a junkie since I was a kid growing up in New York. So I'm watching film. I'm not actually on the draft anymore. When Woj came, he brought his own team. I kind of felt like I had the draft nailed, especially the international kids, which now has become just an incredible blossoming of great talent, not only at the NBA, but the college level. So I'm just hanging out, watching tape, and going to enjoy the summer before I get busy again. My wife says they don't pay you to work, they pay you to travel. So I'm glad to be home.
There you go. And I learned that, and that I didn't realize this before, when you were on with us previously. You live out in Colorado, beautiful part of the country, man. You live in one of the best places that of the guys I know. I'm like, oh man.
Yeah. No, we're blessed, man. I grew up in Brooklyn. I married a Dallas girl. We raised our boys in Dallas when I went to ESPN. And honestly, it got too hot for us. She's a Dallas girl. She said, we're getting out of here. Colorado's always the best. When I was coaching, and I honeymooned in Colorado 37 years ago coming up, but that was our getaway from the stress of the season for a couple of weeks in August. That's, there was a time where coaches actually had a defined time in college to take off. These guys with the portal and transfers and everything else, I don't know how they do it, but August for us was the vacation time before the school year started. Colorado became our thing, and now we live in Colorado Springs, right at the peak of, right at the foothills of Pikes Peak.
Yeah, just a beautiful, beautiful place. That's awesome to see. You mentioned the international players, and one of the things that I wanted to talk about, I was talking about it with Mike DeCourcy the other day, and he said, oh man, Fran's the expert on that. He knows it. And I was just had been reading some things and saw that the agent for Joker for Denver has, it's something, messing with NCAA players is something that is not that he would do, but that at the last Final Four, he had between 55 and 70 meetings and expects to represent upwards of 50 college basketball players coming up, because what NIL has done and opened the eyes for a lot of these European players that normally would have stayed in the pro league system that they were in or whatever.
Yeah, no question, Jim. When I started doing the NBA draft for ESPN in 2004, I was the international guy. And I had some experience. I've been over. I've done clinics in 10, 11 countries, had international kids on my team when I was coaching. Not many, but a guy like Mishko Raznatovich, who I know well, he would have never gotten his hands dirty, if you will, with trying to get kids to come to college 25 years ago, because the money was in Europe at the time. And what people don't really realize is these kids are actually quote unquote pros at an early age. You know, you can define it any way you want if you're the NCAA, and we don't know how they define anything anymore, unfortunately. But Mishko figured out that the way the NIL thing is going now, and I'll say this, okay, because I have many friends in the former Yugoslavia. If you go to Belgrade, it's like going to, it's like going to the heart of New York City in some of those rough areas where I grew up, or Chicago or Detroit. They don't have a lot of money in places like Belgrade and Zadar, Croatia. So when you offer a kid the kind of money that NIL is able to offer now, take an Illinois team, for example, that's loading up with Mishko's guys. These kids that's generational wealth for a kid from Belgrade. Even if he doesn't make the NBA, if he's able to make 3, 4, 5 million over his career at Illinois, you would not believe how far that money goes. So it's a whole new world. We're all getting used to it. I saw it coming 20 years ago. I just didn't see the NCAA, let's just say, fall on its face in terms of the rules, because we really don't know what the rules are right now when it comes to all this eligibility.
No, and even with the foreign players, there's hoops that they have to jump through for NIL, because if you're on a specific visa, you can't get money but there's ways that you can. There's different visas you can get. I've researched and found out there's different types of visas. You can run it back through your home country.
Well, let me tell you this, Jim. Let me tell you this. Mishko is way smarter than you and me. Okay, I know that man. I've known him. He's one of the great agents in Europe. So if anybody figured out NIL, the legality of it, it's a guy like him. So I'm still trying to figure it out. You're doing your research. But in point of fact, these agents are good, the great ones anyway, the ones that are here in the States, the NBA agents and guys like him overseas. They know what they're doing because they know how to create wealth for their clients, which is what he's done.
Shouldn't agents, with all the money that's out there and all that's going on, shouldn't agents have to be certified like they are in professionals? Because right now, any Joe Blow off the street can be a quote unquote agent.
Yeah, no question. At the college level, these, there's some good agents out there, but there's some nefarious characters involved with the NIL aspect. Like I said, guys like Bill Duffy, Mark Bartelstein in the NBA, these guys are professionals. They know what they're doing. But there's a lot of fly-by-night guys that are representing themselves as agents, handling NIL and transfer portal stuff that, are in many cases don't have the kids' best interests at heart. But on the other hand, most of us think that NIL could be a good thing if it were regulated. And right now there's no regulation, whether it's international kids or these high school kids.
Yeah, and along with the transfer portal, which on one hand, it has done some good because it has certainly leveled the playing field in football and basketball, because we've seen teams in both sports rise up that we normally would not see rise up. And that's been fun for me. I enjoyed it. The NCAA tournament last year, it was real chalky, but that's okay. That's as long as the games are good. Florida, I guarantee you, before the season, most people probably weren't picking Florida, and they dang sure didn't know the names of the players that were on their team.
Well, they'll be good this year, and you won't know some of those names either because they've hit the portal hard, But all these things have unintended consequences. Some good, some bad. Like to your point about the chalkiness, right? Like we like Cinderella, we do. I mean, I was a Cinderella coaching at Manhattan, but when we get to the Sweet 16, we want to see great basketball, which is what we saw this year, because all those teams were loaded with transfers. Now, the flip side of it is, Where's the accountability? Where's the handling adversity? You know, you used to go play, let's say at Indiana. Purdue's a great example. Matt Painter's still somewhat old school. Like if you go there and he tells you may not play as a freshman, he's probably telling you the truth, but it doesn't mean you can't turn into a really good player in time. You know, a Kaufman Wren or something, you know, Braden Smith played from day one, but we used to love the kid who overcame adversity or went up against the juniors and seniors at practice as a freshman, got better, and then became a star. We're missing some of that because many of these kids don't know how to handle adversity. So first chance they all of a sudden are not playing because they were the star in the AAU and the high school team, they're gone. And I think some of that resilience is missing. But again, just one of many unintended consequences that are both good and bad.
Absolutely, because many times we see people leaving because a lack of minutes, and exactly what you're talking about. A lot of times that's a challenge to these guys that the coach may actually believe that they can play that year, but they want them to fight, to earn, to learn, to fight for every bit of that, to scrap and do whatever it takes. And yeah, I agree with you that if you were taking that challenge away, then you're not going to have that ability.
Yeah, and then that's like I said, there's good and bad with some of this stuff. Mikal Bridges from the Knicks redshirted at Villanova, you know, and Dante DiVincenzo, who's in the playoffs with the T-Wolves right now, redshirted at Villanova, you know, almost unheard of. And that's only 5 or 6, 7 years ago. Times have changed now. It's hard to get that kid to realize there's a big picture out there when they're sitting on the bench or redshirting as a freshman.
With the expected European players coming over, now this is not going to be with the amount of college players. It's not like a pro league where it would really impact from a percentage standpoint, but there is going to be an impact. I see what Brad Underwood is doing at Illinois, and who he does a remarkable job because he seems to do this every year. But this year he's done it through a group of European players.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, you know, here's another unintended. Listen, I'm Mr. International Basketball. I was a pioneer at this stuff 20 years ago with the draft, and I love my international friends, and I love seeing, you know, the diversity of, you know, a Doncic in the end. Like, remember Doncic 7 years ago? Nobody knew who really he was, at least here in the States. Jokic was a second-round pick, and now you see them coming to college, as we've already discussed. Here's the problem. The top 75 kid from I'll give you a great example, Cannon Catchings. You know, Cannon Catchings, I don't know why he didn't stay at Purdue. I love his aunt Tamika's a great lady, works for us. Cannon Catchings is one of those kids that got lost in the shuffle at BYU this year. And so think about it now. The top 75 high school kid from Fort Wayne, Indy, Chicago, all of a sudden, like, it's not as easy for him to compete like it was because we might have, at least at the high major level, 75 international guys playing in the Big 10, Big 12, SEC, you know, ACC. And think about the amount of opportunities it's now taken away from college kids. Now, I'm not against international guys because, like I said, I like that diversity. But all of a sudden, you know, like at Illinois now, Brad doesn't have to go to Chicago and deal with the AAU guys up there. He's dealing with Mishko. And Mishko's a good businessman. And when Mishko finds out what the NIL deal is in Champaign, hey, you're not playing in Belgrade this year. You're going to Champaign, Illinois. That's how things are changing. And it's affecting a lot of people.
And it's got to be easier for the coaches. If you could deal with one guy and pull in 2 or 3 players, that saves a lot of wear and tear.
Probably. And, you know, you got to get used to Balkan food over there in those places. But, you know, no, but anyway, so there's a lot of good to this. And there's some things that I don't like, but these are those unintended consequences.
The numbers probably won't be enough to where, will it be enough to alter the college landscape, the college game?
I think so. I wouldn't have said that 2 years ago because I didn't think we'd have a gold rush, if you will.
Right.
It's actually a good analogy, really, when you think about it.
Yeah, it is.
You know,
you got to run on it, baby. You got to run on that gold.
You know, just like those people in the 1800s ran out to California, you know, they're coming. Like I said, a kid, let me put it in perspective. I love Indianapolis. Okay. I mean, I love downtown, Final Four next year. You come from Belgrade to Indianapolis, it's like going to New York City or LA for those kids. They can't believe that there's a Steak and Shake on the corner. And, I know my Indianapolis now.
Yes, you do.
But, they think America, which rightfully so, when you think of how poor some of those kids are, they think of America as like the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Another good analogy. But so they're coming. They're coming. They're going to make an impact, and they're going to change the landscape. That's what's happening. It's a little scary, again, if you're a high school kid who's a top 100 player, because you're not automatically going to play anymore right away when you can go get transfers who are upperclassmen, or you can go get these international kids, which in many cases, they're 19, 20, 21, practicing with pros. There's a kid coming over. I got to think about this for a second. I can't tell you which kid it is because I'm so. But he just came over and he played with 8 guys on his pro team who are former NBA players, and he's 18, and he's going to be coming to college. So don't think he's not a little bit more advanced and ready to play
go
than the kid that is playing up in Fort Wayne.
That brings me to a question, because of when the American players go over in Europe and play pro in the various pro leagues, there's usually a limit of 2 Americans per team.
It's changed.
It going? Oh, it is.
It has changed through the years. Yeah, but I get it. But let me answer your question before you ask me. And I don't mean to do that to you.
No, you're ahead of the game.
Yeah, so most of the countries now can have 3, 4, 5, 6 Americans. That two international limit really went out the window. But here's the other thing: the kid who's like, let's take Trace Jackson Davis. Okay, 25 years ago, if he couldn't go to the NBA, he'd be the leading scorer on a team in Spain. If Trace had gone, believe it or not, he played a lot as a rookie. Remember, but if he had gone to Real Madrid out of college, he would have been the 10th man. He really would have been the 10th man. And 25 years ago, they wanted the American to be the leading scorer. And I'll put it this way, and I love Matt Painter. Purdue would have lost to Real Madrid by 30 or 40 this year. That's how good the level of play is. Real Madrid would not be the worst team in the NBA. So to your point, it's easier to come to Illinois or Indiana and make an impact for an 18-year-old Serbian kid than it would be to play at a high level in Europe right now.
You cover a lot of games in the Big 12, of course. Your beat there. Any familiarity with Darren DeVries, the new coach at Indiana?
Yep, I did. I'll say this. First of all, he's an excellent coach. I watched him from afar at Drake. I remember when he was an assistant at Creighton. I only did 2 WVU games this year because they were considered to start the year at the bottom of the league. And he did a great job in 1 year at West Virginia. He really did. If his son hadn't gotten hurt, they would have definitely been an NCAA tournament team. And keep in mind, they lost their whole roster. That's like the new thing, right? He took over. He got a young man, by the way, from South Bend, Javon Small, who's probably going to get drafted in the second round, came out of nowhere. Darren's an excellent coach. He's an understated guy. He's not going to wow you with his personality, I don't think. But he's meat and potatoes. And, that roster is interesting because he starts off with a borderline pro in his son. Now, his son may end up being a good NBA player, but at least at this stage, he's going to probably be at least a second-round pick. I like what he's doing, but the proof's going to be – and he's put together a highly paid, good staff. Can't believe what these assistant coaches are making, Jim. I think I'd leave ESPN for an assistant coaching job right now. But,
I keep saying I want to get fired. I want to be a fired coach.
Exactly. I was, and I turned it into a TV career. I know the feeling. But I think the proof's going to be in the pudding because the transfer portal is important. Obviously, the high school basketball recruiting is important. And I think the biggest thing they've got to do, and I know Woody tried to do this, and Tom Crean's a close friend, but man, I spent 8 years in Ohio at Ohio U and Ohio State. And I was a Coach Knight guy. I really was. I was on both sides of his temper when I was a broadcaster, but I'd like to see them get the magic back, the mystique, which, we haven't really seen in quite a while. So he's got a tall order. He's a very good coach, but you're not going to get you're not going to get Wayne Newton every night entertaining you. You're going to get meat and potatoes.
Yeah, he's put together a team full of guys that that you wouldn't have heard of unless even the kid from Florida didn't play a lot, but he has a lot of kids that played on programs that were either winning programs or that they were winners as far as in the conferences and things like that. And you can tell this is going to be a team that is very different from what Indiana fans have seen for a number of years. They're going to be shooting the ball a lot. And they don't have really bigs, quote unquote. They've got Reed Bailey, who's 6'10", and that's it. Then it goes down to 6'9" and below, but very, very athletic.
Yeah, I think so. Reed is a kid that I talked to my NBA friends during the season, and they really liked him, not necessarily to be a first rounder, but he was definitely on the board for a lot of teams because he's such a good runner. You're going to love the way he, obviously he can shoot the ball and get up and for a kid his size, but he can really run. And there's going to be times where he's going to look really good, I think, in Darren's in coach's system.
I was a little surprised that none of either the recruits or players came from West Virginia. That usually happens.
Well, I got to tell you, they didn't have a lot of talent other than Javon Small and his son that I would have necessarily said, hey, come with me to Indiana. Like, he really put together, once his son got hurt, a patchwork team. And I wasn't surprised, having seen them play, that they couldn't do better in the portal than some of the guys that he might have left behind, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, it does. What's up next for you, man? Just a little more relaxing and tape work?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do this summer. I was involved with 3x3 this last couple of years. We qualified for Paris. Jimmer Fredette is now I recruited to play, is now going to take over 3x3. It's a great sport, Olympic sport. Think about beach volleyball to volleyball. That's we all grow up playing 3-on-3 half court. I'm out of that now, so I've got the summer off. As I said, I got a son coaching it in the NBA. I got a son coaching at Harvard where he played. And I'm gonna work the NBA Players Association Top 100 camp. I'll get out and see that being in Colorado Springs, I get to see all the USA basketball stuff out here. Believe it or not, the under 16 team is out here starting today. So I watch them when they're babies, and the under 19 team's coming out here in June before they go to Switzerland. I don't have a job, Jim. I'm a basketball junkie, so I'm blessed. I really am.
We are very blessed for you taking the time to join us, man. I always appreciate you so much. I love listening to you call games. I love the way you call the games from your coaching perspective, but also the down home manner. Only thing is, next time we're going to have you start off playing the piano, tickling the ivories a little bit back there.
That's for my wife. That's for my wife. That's not. That piano makes me look really smart on Zoom calls. So don't worry about it. I'm from Brooklyn. Hey. I don't know pianos. Okay.
Hey, pizza though, baby.
I do. I sure do.
Fran, I cannot thank you enough, sir. I really appreciate you.
My pleasure, Jim. We'll do this again soon.
Absolutely. Fran Fraschilla joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio, ESPN broadcaster, long time, as well as coach as well. Very, very fortunate to have him stop by. I love talking to him. I love his perspective. Like I said, he's just someone that calls great games and does a wonderful job when he's doing it. And wish he called some more Big Ten games, man. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I know I did. I love talking to those guys that have the knowledge, that have been there, that have the experience, that have been around. And Fran is definitely one of those guys and great and always great with their time. So always so fortunate as we are. We're fortunate tomorrow. Todd Leary back on the program Zach Osterman and Alec Lasley. We will get you caught up on Indiana basketball and what all is going there. We've hit on everything this week multiple times. Pacers, the Colts, the little race called the Indianapolis 500, which goes off on Sunday, and of course, Indiana basketball and football as well. So trying to keep you updated on everything that's going on around the state and anything that's connected to it. Hope you guys have yourselves a great day as you head out. One more day, baby. One more day until the weekend. Tomorrow is Friday, and I cannot wait. Looking forward to it. Until then, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.